Yeah, it seems like this is probably going to be a pretty heavy Google focused podcast here with search terms updates, GA4 updates with like LLM tracking, and then they just dropped a what was it, Search Console, like documentation on how to like basically like best practices for AI search from the Google side.
Yeah, it was Google Search Central. Their whatever documentation blogs. They posted some interesting stuff that it's very relevant to the last conversation we had about schema.
Yeah, why don't we
Uh,
start there? Because that was a big topic of
yeah,
like, does schema have
let
any
me.
relevance? And I wish you literally just like shared it in Slacks. Like I didn't read the full thing,
I'll,
but
I'll pull it
I
up
th-
right now.
I think there's a call out in there that basically like the LLMs.TXT is also like totally irrelevant and
Yeah,
not
so
impactful.
it's fun. So like they've got this post here. Optimize your website for generative AI features on Google search. So
From
basically,
Search Central, Google Search
yeah,
Central.
this is from Google, right? So it's the AI overview and AI mode, right? Um, it's funny because all of the things that they talk about are pretty much like foundational SEO items in
Steve,
here.
scroll up real quick.
Yeah,
That headline there: apply foundational SEO best practices to generative AI search. That's so
yeah.
good.
Stupid ringtone.
That is a
Yeah,
gnarly ringtone there.
it's from Star Wars.
Give
Uh,
somebody a quick heart attack there.
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean they just call it out. And it's like, dude, provide your unique point of view and content. It's like, okay, makes sense. There's this whole conversation right now about non-commodity content versus commodity content. So like content like, hey, 7 tips for first buying home buyers. Anybody can write that shit, right? And that's kind of like, hey, an AI bot can write that. They're like, hey, well, maybe make something a little bit more specific and personal. And they're talking about like why we waived inspection, saved money, and looked inside the sewer line. It's just gets it to being, stop writing generic shit that anybody else put some real value into your content. I would say still write it, start with AI, and then blend it into your own values and aspects. Nothing new though.
Inter-
Nothing
oh,
new
for
there.
sure, nothing new there. And it's
Yeah,
interesting. I've seen some people share some stuff about they went heavy on like AI written content and saw massive spikes in clicks and impressions in Search
and they
Console,
fell
and then like
off.
fall off a
Yeah,
cliff.
no, they figured it out. They
So
figured
I
it
think
out
Google kind
quickly.
of figured that out. So I think the days of like the listicles and like the 7 tips, whatever, like stuff like that, that was like being pushed heavy for like a while there. That's all good performance. It's probably done.
Yeah, no, for sure. This one was interesting. Add high quality images and videos. It's not that we always suggest adding images into a blog post or something like that or on the site. Make sure that they have alt image tags, etc. Specifically, that they're calling out image and videos. It's probably so they can pull them into the cards, into the AI overview, whatever like results. Which okay makes sense, but that's what you're gonna do anyways. Uh, focus on what users want. Don't overdo it. Get it. They're actually talking about like scaling content abuse. They actually talk about this here. Just don't overdo it. And they also say here, if you're using AI tools to assist in content creation, be sure your work meets the standards and our spam policies. So they're okay with it. Just make sure it's decent, like that you're writing it or that the AI is writing it, but you're putting your touch on it. So it's totally fine. So like nothing new here. They talk about technical structure, just like making sure that they can crawl everything. They can get into the HTML. No big deal. This are all the same things that you would do for SEO here, right? No big deal. Local businesses, I don't really touch base too much. I haven't looked too much on that, but like, okay, the myth busting part's fun, right? Like, hey, LLMs.txt files, they're not relevant. They don't use them, or any other special markup. They don't use it. This whole chunking of content has been thrown around where you
Dude,
break your
that one's been
content up.
huge. That's been thrown around of like,
But
hey, we need it to be like bite sized and like readable and
it's
like
fucking marketing, dude. It's like, let's
human
just,
language.
yeah. So Google's pretty good about reading the page content. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing to chunk up content. No, if it's easier to read, that's fine. I've seen it work well. This one doesn't make sense. Rewriting content just for AI systems. I didn't really understand that one too much. But then this one here, you go, seeking inauthentic mentions, just like the rest of Google search. Our generative AI featured can show what's being said about products and services across the web, including blogs, videos, and forum discussions. However, seeking inauthentic mentions across the web isn't helpful as it might be seen. Our core ranking systems focus on high quality content, while other systems block spam. So it's kind of a generic one of like, hey, I see you. I see you on Reddit spamming the thread. I see you making these fake
LinkedIn
top.
and Reddit and Quora and like all
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
there's that, but then also the fake top 10 stuff. They're like, I see you, but the keyword that throws it off is like inauthentic. How do they know it's inauthentic? If it's blatantly kind of spammy, I'm sure it's there. So there's some sort of threshold behind it where it's like, hey, this is a feature that we do look at. Just make sure it's good, but you could still abuse it. That's the point. But that's still not necessarily anything like different than SEO. I mean, I guess maybe a little bit. I mean, years ago, I've always talked about Google should understand the web easier by just crawling the internet, understanding the entities, and like if your business is mentioned in a blog post and it's talking about a certain topic, that should count as good as a link back to your website, right? And it's actually easier. So it's like link building without link building. I was talking about that shit 10 years ago. This is kind of what they're talking about now again. It's like, okay, if we're gonna start detecting that, but if you start to do it in inauthentically, then we might ding you or devaluize probably. Most likely what they'll do is they won't ding you, they'll just not take it as value and put it in the algorithm. They just ignore it potentially. And then here's the best one: over focusing on structured data. Structured data isn't required for generative AI search. There's no special schema.org markup you need to add. However, it's a good idea to continue using it as part of your overall SEO strategy, as it helps with being eligible for rich results on Google. There you go. It's like you would do it anyways if you have the time to do it. It's not going to be game changers like we talked about last week, but it's not fucking required. So I am just so grateful that I have a link that I can share with clients now directly from Big G Google on their stance.
This is like so well done. And like, this is so sick to see.
Yeah. Uh yeah, it's funny because they also talk about like, yeah, apply SEO best practices, like your next steps. Create content that's the same thing with content they've always fucking talked about. And then the other one is prioritize effective SEO strategy over AEO or GEO hacks, right?
So
So
this is such
it's
a
kind of a
good
shot at
piece.
them, which is interesting. I think they were maybe sick of it. I
No
don't
doubt
know.
about it. This is such a good piece because it's very straightforward and clear. And I really love the fact that they went through and like did like the like myth busting thing here because it seems like a lot of these AI tools, it's like all I couldn't tell you, Steve, how many times I've heard add schema to your site and like Gumshoe just pushes that like crazy. Like, yo, your
Yeah.
AI visibility score isn't good because you don't have schema on this page, or add LLM.TXT, or you need to start chunking your content. Those three have been, and then I think probably like some like LinkedIn, Quora, Reddit stuff, but those three of chunking content, structured schema, and LLM.TXT, those three are like the go-to for any of these like AI tools. And majority of people who talk about like, you know, how things are different and like make LinkedIn post about it, speak to that stuff all the time. And it's like, well, it's kind of like a bunch of horseshit. It's not even real. Like we're not even talking about anything real.
Yeah. It's classic marketers making marketing words up to then sell that to people and the show value. So I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still going to be some weird hacks and tricks that help you with rankings. Maybe the AI overview stuff that a lot of people don't share. Google likes to do a little bit of gaslighting with some of their things that you need to do. Just write good content. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. So there's definitely that feeling in this here too. Uh, but it is nice to have some documentation around this, because they also announced too that their spam policies that they have for normal organic search will be also applied to AI overviews. So yeah, that's helpful. But you know, it's also, I think there was a phrase in here too where it's like, um, yeah, their RAG retrieval system. So um, first, so AI responds by relying on our core search ranking systems to retire relevant, up to date websites from our search engines. Like they literally said it right here. It's like, hey, we use our core search ranking systems to retrieve relevant and up to date web pages from our search index for AI stuff. So it's like, oh, so you are using your search index for your AI results? No shit. So yeah,
This was sick.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to see come across. It just came across this morning, like maybe an hour ago. I see it; it's on fire on LinkedIn. Everybody's talking about it, um, and it's on X too on a couple different posts. But um, it's so funny, man. Like even like the conversation on LinkedIn, like you post something like this, I feel like maybe 85% of the people that comment on stuff is just spam. Like there's no like genuine input. Where then like on X, it's actually a conversation with real people about it.
You want to stop screen sharing because I have like major thoughts there
Uh,
as well.
all right, let me stop screen shared.
But I've seen a bunch of people mention that, and how like majority of comments now are just like AI, and it's basically like summarizing the post and then maybe
Yeah,
adding like one like blurb after of like regurgitating what the post said and then like a nonsense like generic line after. I'm assuming platforms are probably going to like crack down on, but I don't know because maybe to the point of that we mentioned before about like they're optimizing for like daily active users and like platforms growing. So like there's not incentive to like crack down on bots. Maybe there's not as much incentive to crack down on like engagement and posting because like that's a good look of like there's activity going on. But I think at a certain point you're going to have to because it's like everybody knows it's like this is a bunch of nonsense. It's just like actual nonsense that's being responded to and commented with.
yeah, dude. It's gotten so bad with like my LinkedIn requests and messages where I'm like, it's just spam. Like I don't need any of this. Like I'm sorry, but like stop. Like, can I opt out of this? Like, because people pay for like the in-mail link stuff, and sure it lands in like my secondary inbox, but like I get a notification, etc. It's like I'm good. Like,
LinkedIn sucks. I just got to say
it,
it. It just the platform is just awful now. Like there's just no way around it.
yeah, yeah, and I think we got to start testing out some other platforms for even B2B lead gen stuff for clients because I just think it's just not there.
I think X is the platform. I really do. I think that's like the dark horse here because it's like a lot of real stuff. No doubt about it. There's going to be bot stuff on any platform, but there's a lot of like real engagement and real comments and stuff. I haven't looked into this one just yet, but I think there's definitely something there. And the other thing that I was going to mention about this that I was just looking at because Gumshoe is like one of like the top
Mm-hmm.
like AEO GEO tools right now. They've raised 2 million pre-seed, it looks like. And like I've used the platform a ton and like legitimately the top examples of how to improve your site's SEO are schema and LLM.TXT. Like those are like the main bread and butter recommendations. Like that is like their North Star. And then the chunking thing, it's kind of like hey, you need to have some content that's like easily readable. And I think there's probably a couple snippets where like, hey, we tweaked our brand's messaging on our website. And then they would show like the copy on the website and then like what was like flagged in like the LLM and like the copy is very similar. Like, hey, you should be writing in 100 to 150 words in a chunk thing so that like LLMs can pick it up perfectly. And it just caught on. It's like one of those narratives. But it's like this tool's raised 2 million pre-seed. I know a bunch of people that use it and think it's like gospel when it comes to like AI search. And it's like, what is going on there? Like that's just like I don't know. I would feel a little like stressed if I was running that business. Be like, are we kind of like duping like a lot of businesses and agencies who like really don't know, who are just like kind of in the moment looking for an answer? Because like I said, I've used it for multiple accounts now at this point, and it says the same thing every single time.
All right, what's a job board that I can search? Should I search Indeed? Is that like all right? I'm gonna search Indeed, and I'm just gonna put the term in GEO and just see how many like job postings show up.
GEO and then AEO. Those are like the two ones.
All right,
See what pulls
I
up
don't
here.
like Indeed. Let's do Let's do Zip Recruiter instead. Zip Recruiter.
I know we
All
just
right,
talked not junk on LinkedIn, but I'm sure LinkedIn probably the same deal for like their jobs.
continue with email. Can I just search? Okay, here we go. It's so funny. I'll do a remote job. That'll give me a bigger. Let's see. So GEO. Let's see. Search jobs. What comes up? I'm just curious. 262 jobs with the term GEO. Uh, somewhere mentioned, but I don't think this is actually super accurate. Uh, Yeah, there's one for like a SEO GEO strategist. Maybe AEO is better, huh? Isn't that what they call it? AEO? I don't know. It's not pulling what I want. Anyways, I guess my point is that like, dude, if don't be that in your job title. Like that's what you're doing. But it's just trends. I've seen it before. It's not often. I can't put my finger to where I've seen it before, but it's like when a new trend comes out and new discipline and everybody jumps on it. Maybe it was like maybe influencers was kind of something like that. When you could buy like micro influencers and for like user generated content for stuff, and it was like, is this really doing anything? For me as a company, everybody else seems like this trend. We need to get into the influencer stuff. It's got its space, for it for sure, but like everybody built different tools for it or this or that, and
No
yeah,
doubt about it.
this one's a little unique because it's like just kind of the same thing rebranded.
The one thing that popped in my mind when you said that was like crypto in like 2021, like the height of COVID, NFTs just
Oh,
exploded. And I remember there was a period of time in marketing where like a big push for like CMOs and stuff was like blockchain and NFTs. Like, hey, like we're working with higher ed students, like can we help spin up a project so like your graduating pamphlets an NFT? So it's like known, it was verified from that university, it lives on the blockchain forever, and like how can, and it was one of those
the
topics where it's like how can we get
blockchain.
things to blockchain, how can we, and I'm not a hater of crypto by any means,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
I'm a big fan of Bitcoin, but very similar. It was like, here's a wave, here's a trend. It's like new technology, like blockchain and like NFTs, and like, how can we do this? And a lot of people hopped on that. It also makes you think, like, dude, like Tony Robbins and like this other finance dude, I see YouTube ads all the time about them like AI is changing everything. Are you prepared? If you're not, join this mastermind. We will go through all of the tools and how you should use AI to take your career to the next level. And I'm just like, dude, how is Tony Robbins running an AI mastermind? Like, dude, you don't know anything about AI. Let's be totally honest. Like, but I know for sure he probably had like an NFT and a blockchain course probably 2, 3 years ago, and now it's like an AI thing. It's just like
Just the trends, man.
it's
Yeah,
just such a trend. It just speaks to, I hate, like it just like humans are like very much so like herd animals, and like
yeah.
being an independent thinker, I think is really going to like help you in this new wave of like AI, because I think there's probably just going to be so many people that just like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to like use AI and like whatever it says it says. The ones who could decipher the results that AI provide and like use AI to help like, be more productive or build products or like do whatever, I think are, stating the obvious, are going to be the winners here.
Yeah.
And I think if you're somebody who's just using AI and just like regurgitating what it like spits out to you, everybody knows, hey, this was written by AI. These slides were designed by AI. And if you can't be a critical thinker and like sift through that information, I think that's actually going to like end up being a hindrance on your career.
No, I agree. I agree, and I think that kind of tie this topic like up in a nice little bow is like I'm just happy to have this link because literally, like, I think last month I had a client ask, like, "Oh, what are we doing for AI optimization?" And I had to talk back. I didn't have anything official to send back,
Yep.
So it's like, boom, here you
Here you
go.
go.
Like this is directly from Google. Sure, maybe ChatGPT is different, but I'm gonna go with the big dog Google, and we'll go from there.
This will
Um,
be this will be bookmarked for sure.
Yeah, I think the other topic to mention was Google Analytics because this is on the same line of things.
No doubt.
So they are adding a new default channel grouping uh, that is going to be called AI Assistant, and it's supposed to track traffic that's coming in from AI channels. But I got to get specific with this because I'm pretty sure it's just to, actually, I have a link. Let me pull this up real quick.
So basically in
Um,
GA4, when you go to like a report and they have like a channel grouping, like the default ones, it's like organic, direct, referral, things like that.
which I don't typically use, but some
Same.
people do. But like
Usually like
typically,
update that to like source medium to like get a little bit like
Yeah, you typically
further
go to
along.
source medium, correct?
Yeah.
And the way that the LLM traffic comes in right now, it's typically comes in as like not set or referral or none, but it's typically referral that it kind of comes into. So I think this is just replacing it because I don't have access to this yet for any of my clients, which is kind of weird. But let me share. Let's see, new. I was able to ask someone that does have access to it to see how, because like in analytics, you can go into your settings under in Google Analytics, you can go into your settings and you can go into your settings for your default channels and you can screw with how they associate channel data based on the settings that you do. That's actually in there. So you can actually extract what they're using to make this into this channel. You know, for example is like if it has CPC, that should probably be in paid, right? Or if it's organic, that comes in the organic channel. But there's subtle nuances like over the years where like I had a client running a paid campaign and I think they were using like dude, like banner ads or something like that as their UTM, and it wasn't getting lumped into the paid channel. So you can add that as a UTM source, banner ads, and it comes in there. So long story short, I was able to get me. I'll just share my screen. Let's see, share. It looks like it's using just a pretty wild regex to pull this in. That's Chrome tab window. Okay, I'll just get this window real big. Untitled here, and I'll have to zoom in on this. I'll make this font super big. Can you see that on your screen, Trevor?
I got you now. Yeah.
Okay, so this is what they're using. This is regex. So it's like anytime ChatGPT, Perplex, this kind of labeling is happening, that's when it's going to get lumped into that bucket. This affects me because in my reporting that I do for clients, I do actually have my own regex that pulls this in together. I'll just probably deploy this across because it just pulls it in, but it should be referral traffic and it's not going to be retroactive either. So that's the other kind of weird part. I don't think it's going to be retroactive. You're looking at your data. So it's kind of like we're going to have that conversation with clients when they're looking at GA information. It'll be easier moving forward. Like if this is a brand new client and you're starting to track now, you just use that as your default channel. It should pick all this stuff up. But I want to know what it's broken down into, right? Like these channels, what that traffic is. To add some more clarity to this, though, this does not track traffic coming from Google AI overviews. So you search something and they have the results there and you're in the AI overview and you click on it, that is still considered organic traffic. So don't be confused with that.
That's so tough. I don't like that. I'm assuming they're eventually going to differentiate.
I doubt it.
I don't know. Who knows
I
if
don't
they
know.
don't, but
I think their goal eventually is to get into full on AI mode. Like
and
the
just the
traditional
results
five
page is
blue
just kind
links.
of like AI mode.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This hybrid is okay. I think it works well. Um, but yeah, this does not track traffic from AI overviews at all.
It's so funny to see Bard up there, by the way, because I remember when Gemini first released and it was released as Bard.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah.
Remember that?
And this is
Yeah.
something. So the other thing too is like, are they just going to go behind the scene and update the the regex system to add other sites in there?
That's exactly what I was thinking. Is
Kind
like,
of
are they
weird.
just gonna, just like a little
Mass update push.
yeah, little mass update push there with like a little settings tweak.
Um,
It's just funny just talking
Dude,
about like
some of these I've never even heard of, like Poe.com, PHIND.com. Like, I'm like,
you're
who?
probably pretty pumped though if you're like one of those brands in there. Like, yeah, we got a legit business going here because like Google's.
It's weird that Notion.ai would be in there too. I'm like, is that? I thought Notion was I don't know. So, man, we'll see. It,
I
but
know.
it's not changing. Like, I just don't think people are. It's not changing any. You're not getting any more data. They're just wrapping it under a default channel. This data already exists in your account today. It's not tracking like bot traffic coming through. I mean, maybe these
Yeah,
visitors
you
are
would
bots mostly, but it's like it's not. You know, yeah,
if you use that like drop down a source medium that we just mentioned, like you could just see that now, like ChatGPT slash referral or Grok slash referral, like whatever, like that
yeah,
automatically pulls in now.
yeah, exactly.
It's
So I
just
don't
so
want people to
funny
get
talking
confused
about
about it.
all of this, like massive disruption and change and how advanced AI is, and then like you just see like Google pushing this like little update based off of like regex, and like they're probably just gonna like add in like another brand name eventually there or something like that. It's like kind of like a
Yeah.
simple update on their end. That's cool
Yeah,
though.
no, yeah, it's pretty basic update, but I think it just sounds a little bit different than what it really is. Yeah.
So do you think long term Google results page is going to be like what they call AI mode, and it's going to be like an LLM experience, and then like maybe you have Google has like the tabs now where it's like images, video, maps, like whatever. Do you think it's going to be like AI mode's kind of like the default Google experience, and then you still have the other tabs if you wanted like traditional search and like links, that would be an option?
So I think it's somewhere in between because like right now, ChatGPT or Perplexity, like what a prompt response looks like. It kind of comes back out and it's like paragraphs, kind of almost like a blog post with links. I think it's going to be some sort of hybrid that Google makes permanent. And they're kind of doing it in their AI overview right now, where it's like a drop down, you have cards off to the right, you've got some features down below. So I don't think it's going to be your standard like Chat GPT response or Perplexity response. I think it's going to be maybe an expansion of what AI overviews look like in a way that's helpful. So it's not like AI mode, because I don't like that. I don't think a lot of people like that. But I think it's going to be this kind of new search engine result page that's very modular itself. Um, I think that's what it's going to move to. And then, yes, maybe there is like, hey, just show me the listings, right? I don't know how they're going to brand it or call it, but they'll figure out some UX UI around it. But it's not going to be the what you see now when you go to AI mode. I don't think it will be,
Yeah, I
because I
don't
don't think
mind
it's a
that.
good. I don't think it's a good response. I don't think it's a good usability. I think they're going to try to
Yeah,
like make
AI
little.
mode.
I think they're going to try to like make little micro websites, almost like a landing page for every query that comes in. With the design elements from all the different things, throw in some video, some image. That's what the search result page is kind of right now. Um, but I think it's going to be some sort of in between. In between, we just
Could
haven't seen it yet.
could totally see that, and I don't mind that. How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it. Tracking is going to be difficult. I mean, it's really difficult now with AI overviews, but I'm okay with it because it's still taking that search index there. And then if someone wants to go to the listings, then it's all the standard kind of links. Then you go to the videos, it's all the videos, images, it's all the images. Forums, it's the same thing. Because that's how Google is set up right now. Is that they have buckets in their, they have basically silos uh, of indexes. One is images, one is videos, one is forums, one is the web, right? And so they're trying to just, and then they rebuild the search page, which they've done historically. They kind of pipe everything in there. The AI overview now is just a part of that, and so yeah, I think it's just going to be a kind of a slow evolution of that page to when we look like 2 years from now at the Google search results, we're like, whoa, we are very different. But it's going to be subtle, and I think it's going to be over time. But it's just going to be a big change.
Could totally see that. It's
Yeah,
um,
you'll have
it's
your ads in
fascinating.
there weaved in there. You'll
Oh, for
have your
sure.
organic stuff. So yeah, it's yeah.
It's just fascinating the rollout of AI overviews, and I think initially some people were like not super thrilled about it, and it was a little wonky and a little weird. But now I just feel like everybody's just so used to it, and I
It's
remember when
happening
they first
quick.
rolled it out, it would be like sometimes they would have a couple links above, and then the AI overview would be in the middle, and like they would like mess around with where it is. But now it's like always at the top of the page,
Almost for
and
every search query.
yeah, it's pretty much it's almost every search query now. Like it's
Except for
outside of
like
like the local
shopping.
searches.
I think shopping experiences too. They have their kind of shopping feed resulting
Yeah,
that's there too, which I hate that view. But it's more shop Amazon esque, because they saw the intent. So yeah, interesting times. But tracking gets really difficult. Like your normal, like I rank number one or two. It's like honestly, it's like you don't have to be number one or two anymore. You could just be like in the top 20, and you could get pulled into AI overviews.
no doubt. So in a
I,
sense, in that way, like it's almost like it's an upgrade for like a lot of businesses potentially.
Yeah, it's kind of spreading out the traffic. I feel like across a lot of different brands. So yeah, and it goes into the whole zero click stuff too, where people are finding you, etc. So um, yeah, and then even tracking back, like your traffic organically is probably going down a little bit, but then your direct traffic's going up higher. It's very difficult right now to get a pulse. on like positiveness, or just a pulse on like organic, because there's so many different elements now in that search result table. So yeah.
This was sick. I'm so pumped that Google did this and released this because now we have a little firepower of like, you're probably like thinking over time of like, hey, I've seen this stuff in the wild, I've experienced it, I've seen other people post about it, but now it's like an actual like Google certified, verified. Here's like everything in one place as like a little checklist to pass along to clients of like this is what's real and what's not. So sick they did that.
So maybe you want to bring up the other Google announcement here because I think it's super relevant. Is Google Ads search term report shows or something? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I've got some
So
feelings about this.
basically, I think the main kind of update, and then I'll make sure to get these three support articles linked in the show
I'll share
notes
this. I
if
have it.
anybody wants to refer to them. But basically, Google updated. Oh, perfect. I
Google
got it
here.
now. Advanced search experiences, and then what was the title of this one?
Google
Google
search.
Ads search terms report shows best approximation of users' intent. And then if you scroll down, do they give you an image of like what this looks like?
Yeah.
Basically, search term shows your reporting represents the best approximation of a user's intent. And then do they have a screenshot in here?
Mm-mm.
Google no. So basically, Google explained in some cases user search may involve more complex search journeys. For example, searches for lens, AI mode, AI overview. So that means these searches are not considered technically identical to a keyword. Keywords may not automatically be prioritized. Instead, AI-based ad group prioritization ensures that most relevant ad groups and asset groups are selected to match users' overall intent. Basically, uh, and then this was spotted on LinkedIn. Another super interesting note is that in these cases, keywords may not actually be used at all, but instead, Google will use AI based ad group prioritization in these cases to attempt to get to the closest match. So I think all of this kind of points to like having advanced search experience in here, different ad formats. So essentially like in your search terms report, you're going to kind of get like I haven't seen it in accounts just yet, but you're going to get like an intent based signal of like what Google thought the intent was, which I think it's going to be really interesting to see because we were just chatting about this before the pod. We have like another account where some phrase match keywords brought in some interesting traffic that like wasn't super relevant all the time that um I'm curious like what the intent justification they're going to give in those instances there. Um, so I think at the very least it'll give you probably some good signals for like directionally how to apply negatives of like okay here's maybe some themes that you could pull from like the signals or like the intent that Google's saying this is what we thought because I think that would probably give a good representation of like how they view your brand and your business and your services based off of like your keywords ads and landing page content. And as we know from the search terms report, like a lot of times there's like some irrelevant stuff that pulls through. So maybe that'll give you like a good signal in like, hey, here directionally, this is kind of how Google's thinking about our business. Like maybe we need to tweak ad copy and be a little bit more specific or things
Yeah,
things
I'm
like
not
that.
100% sure. This is not super clear because they're saying, like, hey, the search term shown in your reporting represents the best approximation of the user's intent. To me, I read that a little bit differently, where it's like they're going to just try to map them to what they think is the best term in there. They're not going to give you that specific terminology. I don't know. It's a little weird. It's a little vague.
And I think also too that probably speaks to like we've talked about this before of like longer tail, like really specific searches. Like you're not going to get that long tail search of what somebody actually put in. You're just going to get like the theme of it. So maybe this is what Google's kind of tying that back to of like, hey, this search term that we're showing you is kind of like the theme of what they actually searched, not what they searched.
That scares the shit out of me. They're already
I
hiding
know.
so much data from us anyways. Like if you actually look at your search term report, it's like you have like I don't know, most accounts it's probably more than 50% you don't have the data of the actual search terms. You probably only have like 20% of the search terms and that you've actually paid for and you don't get visibility. Uh I just think I think it they got to get rid of search term report. Like I just think it's crazy because if they're like because what's showing up is garbage in most scenarios. It's kind of shocking. And it's just gotten worse over time. And then they outlayered this on. It's like, oh no, we know their intent. That's really what they meant. I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. It makes me feel like Google Ads is going to have some problems performance wise.
You know what else is funny, or not necessarily funny, but interesting? Let me see if I could find this because I had.
It's like so easy to waste money, is my point. Like, it just, I don't, they're not giving us the data. Like, why don't you give us the data? Because of privacy? You're smart enough to just auto detect when someone puts their fucking email address in there or something stupid. Like,
No
spend
doubt.
time on that. Give me everything.
The other update that's happening in the search terms report that isn't this update, but it's connected to it, and this is actually live now. When you go to add negative keywords and then like you build out like a negative keyword list, you can kind of like select multiple search terms and then like at the end you're like you go to apply and then I'll give you like what you selected in there. Now when you go to that section before you once you kind of click like yep this term I want to negate and then you go to apply, it'll give you the option of like ad group, campaign, or negative keyword list. In that experience before you like finalize all right these are the match types, this is the location I want to send those negatives to, it will give you like an approximation of lost in conversions based off of percentage. So you'll
By
select a
adding
search.
them in there?
Yes. So you'll add a search term and then it will give you an estimated loss in conversions of that search term. So it's
So they're
funny
almost
because that
preventing you to, they're almost saying, don't do this.
that's exactly what I thought.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like that's another little tricky
How
way
about
for
gain?
Google.
How about wasted spend?
Nope. It's just potential. It's a percentage of loss in conversion.
So they
And
don't want you to put you in, they don't want you to put negative keywords in.
no, no, definitely not. So that's exactly how I read that update there as well. Um, it's just like so fascinating.
So
It'll literally give you a preview. It's at Performance Max campaigns right now is where it's like rolled out, but they're going to roll it out to like all search campaigns. And I thought this, it's funny you said that, Steve, because I literally, that was the first thought that I had of like, oh, you're going to give me a measure of loss in conversions, aka like you're going to try and like steer people clear of like adding the negative in the first place.
so this so this gets me to think about where with all these kind of parameters in there, if budget was not an issue, I feel like they build all these kind of tools and optimizations when like budget's not an issue. And think about this. Correct me if I'm wrong, Trevor. Like, let's say we're gonna go ahead and try to generate leads for our business, right? And we're gonna launch some campaigns. We're gonna, do what Google's best practice. We've got a pretty decent campaign, but budget's not an issue. But we have really tight conversion tracking. This is the caveat. Really tight conversion tracking. And we just say, go at it, Google. Go find me the conversions. We're talking fucking broad match. We're going to get a lot of shit traffic at first, but then over a couple of weeks, it's going to see people that are hitting the form right, and it's really good. You could have an amazing campaign in a month and a half, maybe. Right? It should find all the right people. If
In
if
theory,
budget's not an issue, because that's how they build these things. It feels like,
for sure.
like honestly, it'd be a really interesting set. If I just had fuck you money, I would just be like, you know what? Let's just see if this actually works. And I'm putting in a daily budget of $100,000. Let's go. Find me those conversions. It should do the trick. And I think that's
I
how the system's being built. But when you have to micromanage campaigns and you don't have that luxury of just freaking unlimited budget, then this gets into all the constraints. Like, we don't have enough time to run to find the data. We have to be very conservative with the. That's what I'm saying. I've even heard about that on like the meta side of things too. Same thing. You're doing like an Advantage Plus program. You've got good conversions all set up. You just open up a gnarly budget. They'll find it.
for sure. That's actually like a really good comparison there and a really good yeah, that's like synonymous. I was actually talking to a Google rep the other day because one of our accounts they were pushing us to do like an AI Max like incremental test, and basically AI Max is kind of like Google's like keywordless technology is how they brand it, and like it'll find you different themes that like your keywords might be missing out on right now. And when you launch AI Max, you can launch just AI Max, but they incur like you need broad match keywords in there. So you already need to have like broad match in there, but then there's two settings where you could have like text customization and URL expansion. So basically, in theory, Google's like, hey, we will use your broad match keywords as themes to find searches that you might be missing out on your current keywords, and we'll also craft unique specific copy for that exact query, and then we'll decide which page to send it to on your site. So you're given a ton of control there. Google's whole thing, they were like, hey, when we do this and we're going to like actually launch this, you cannot have campaigns limited by budget. You need to like max out your campaigns as much as possible. So they basically like there's like a plan in place of like, hey, if you have a couple campaigns that you want to do this, you need to gradually increase your daily spend budgets to get to the point where you're not capped. Like there's no limited by budget. You're at the max search volume possible to then find you those, you know, specific search terms that you might be missing out on. So it kind of speaks to exactly what you kind of just teed up. Like the Google rep pretty much was like, you just need to like just max out your spend as much as possible. And then AI Max will work to its best possibility. It's interesting because like they pretty much stated exactly what you just kind of rolled out there.
And it makes sense because they're just trying to connect the dots with ones and zeros. They have so much data on users, and they do know better than we do as far as like what someone is searching for to find a conversion and what they searched previously. And it's like they're teeing it up. It's going to be a great conversion. Maybe they had some weird searches before, but then we see it in our ad account that those aren't the best searches that we could think of. And then all of a sudden, the next search term they do, they convert. You know, it's like, think about it. Like, if you think maybe there's some searches that are coming, like maybe competitors that are coming in, you're like, I don't want to bid on my competitor's name. But then, like, the sequential next search is maybe for the industry term that you're going for, and it's like leading into that search query to get to it, and it's like there's a whole complex process behind that we don't have any visibility. And so yeah, we're trying to optimize for one thing, but yeah, dude, the constraints, like it's a really tricky time with Google Ads. It's probably more than ever
Fascinating.
I have seen, at least. It's really weird.
And you got to think too, like, you know, ChatGPT just made their ad platform public, and Google's been at this for 2 decades now. And like, I know AI is obviously like, you know, popped up in like a, you like over the past 3 years. It's really been around for like, you know, much longer than that. But like Google has always touted like they've been using machine learning in the back end of their platform for years, at least a decade, if not more. So I do think like a lot, you know, like they've been doing like a lot of this stuff like for a lot longer than people realize. But you got to think you got like 20 plus years of bugs and patches and experience and absurd amount of data and all of these different case studies. It's like they have so much time to like dial this product in as best as they can. You know, I can imagine how difficult ChatGPT ads actually is in the back end. I think the whole thought process of like ChatGPT knows a bunch about you and a bunch of your context and a lot of like life stuff where like it would be great at ad matching. But when we're talking about like some of these like more nuanced, like phrase match can get a little bit wild and, you know, this, that, and the third. ChatGPT ads are like just like in the first inning of this, like barely. And how difficult that's going to be to like drive immediate results for like a lot of businesses. I'm curious to see how that pans out compared to like a Google Ads experience.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I know ChatGPT just announced today a whole like financial connection module, where like you can connect your bank account and all your stuff to ChatGPT, and you
Like
can
your
be your,
personal bank account
yeah, it can
stuff,
be
your
like a
personal
financial advisor.
finances.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Which
So
I'm
in
like,
theory, that would give them a ton of context on like your purchasing decisions, your habits, where y'all like just so much stuff. Like that would, you
it's
know,
like,
it's
yeah,
like
it's a
your
Google.
finances. Yeah.
Yeah, like, did you
So
do that? I don't know. That seems kind of
no,
crazy. But then also ChatGPT ads though are only for free users,
exactly.
which maybe was a mistake. And maybe
They could always
ChatGPT,
expand it. You know what I mean? Like they could always
yeah,
just go to like the next tier. Like that could definitely be a thing.
maybe if so. Here's the thing though, right? Why do we have ads in Google?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's free. Exactly. Like,
Your Gmail is free, son. Your Google Analytics is free.
yeah,
They went with the freemium model. Maybe ChatGPT should have said, "Nah, dude. Like maybe for like a business application, you know, you have like enterprise stuff that you'd want to pay for, but like, dude, all this other stuff should be free so they can wrap it in ads."
that's tough. It's so tough. Like
Yeah,
that's such a tough decision off the start there. but I'd like a, and I think to your point, I think if you're going to pay for anything at this point, like the expectations, there's no ads. Streaming, you're paying for streaming. Like you're not getting ads on any streaming platforms that you're paid, because you're paying for it. Like you have a subscription. YouTube, like YouTube Premium,
Hey man, that's why
you don't get ads.
Meta and Instagram, Facebook and Instagram. Why are you
Shit's
getting
free.
ads? Shit's
Exactly.
free. So I think, because I do think long term, are they going to make enough money on the enterprise stuff on the ChatGPT side of things to pay for all their data centers and things like that? I don't know what that looks like. I don't know. I mean, they have a bunch of API requests and things like that people pull from and they use quite a bit. Is it enough? Maybe that's fair. I just don't know the business model well enough where it's like you're not making the person the product, you're making the product the product.
I know.
And that's going to be tough. You're not selling.
I'm so curious to see how that pans out because I think we chatted about this last one, but all in podcast they were kind of like talking about basically how Claude and Anthropic, like the Anthropic team was like, hey, we're gonna go like enterprise. That is like our North Star, at least off the start, and then we could figure it out from there. But like we just want to get every single small business and like enterprise business using Claude as a paid version, and we're not going to do ads. And ChatGPT was like a little bit more consumer focused and kind of like the party trick tool of like, hey, like use this and like, everybody's going to use it. And it looks like Anthropic's in a little bit better position because of that. And it seems like so I'm curious to see because it's like the past, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, every like massive company that was built that we're talking about, Amazon, Google, Meta, all of those companies, all ads. And now it's like this new wave of like companies is like, are they just not going to use ads? And like that's just not going to be the business model of the future. It's hard to like envision a future without ads because it's like just so profitable there. So I'm curious how that's going to pan out. But I think that's a really interesting point.
Well, it's interesting too because like it's profitable, but also it's kind of the positive side of ads. Like if you're a company, like you could do ads and you can build your business, right? You can get in front of the right people, etc. And there is a positive side to it. Let's say all ethical companies, etc. It's like you can get yourself in position too because you have these ads. But if Google didn't have ads and Meta didn't have ads, let's just live in this world. If Google did not have ads because maybe we're paying $20 for a month for Google for Gmail, right? In the search experience. Maybe we're paying $10 for our Meta Instagram package. You do both, it's cheaper or something like that, right? And there's no ads. Where and how are people getting visibility for their products or services?
You got to rely on that algorithm and the content that you build, and like PR strategy and all that stuff. Like you got to,
Maybe there's still banner ads on websites that people are consuming, and that's the traditional way. Before the internet. Or not before the internet, but it's like you're
before
building
like
it.
major socials. Yeah.
Like it's hard to grasp your mind around, but like there would be no place for ads.
And it's interesting too because you need to make that decision like extremely early on in your business. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a day one decision, but it's like first couple months, first year type decision of like, are we going to do that or not? Because I think if Google launched their business of like, hey, the only way that you could use search and Gmail is if you had a subscription, like maybe that would have worked. But at a certain point, it's like nobody's paying for it, and like everybody's just used to that. So you kind of have to like really early days, like make that decision. Like, are you going to use ads or not? And not an easy thing to like think like multiple years down the line. Like, how is this really going to pan out for us?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it was a commoditizing our attention. Our attention is on Facebook or Instagram. We're on search. That's our attention. Get in front of ads. But like, I don't know where else you would do it. Like maybe YouTube would be the bigger place because then but if you're paying for YouTube, you're not getting ads either. Like there is a scenario where you will never see ads if you're actually paying for it. But it's a weird one to think about. Then as businesses, it would be very difficult for a lot of businesses to start off, with ads because TV, right? Like that's the only other way. But like you pay for YouTube TV. Well, I guess there are paid. There's still ads there. It's just funny how ads have always been around, and just wherever people's user attentions are, there's gonna be ads. But there could have
No
been a
doubt about it.
place. There could have been a place though where Google didn't go down that route. So
But they made the
good thing
decision
or
and like,
anything. I
hey,
don't know.
literally have an absolute like multi-$100 billion money printer every year because of that decision.
Yeah, but dude, I just feel like ChatGPT. I mean, this is all in hindsight. But if they did freemium and all these connections that you're doing for your financial, your health, etc., people get so dependent on using it as a freemium model that it's like, oh my god, the ads that you could serve to people, it would be better than any other thing else because they have all your information. That would have
Uh,
been the most powerful ad network ever.
it's tough. I think that's
Yeah,
probably a good place to call it there, though.
yeah, that's a weird one.
It's like it's so interesting to like think that through. But like, dude, tough ass decision early days there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
All right, well, I
let's
think this was
call
a
it.
good one.
Yeah, for
Shout out to
sure.
Google for this article and
Oh,
this
so
content
Trevor,
here, by
dude,
the way.
when we get this video, dude, I'd be curious on posting it on X, um, and see how the traction goes rather than
All right,
YouTube.
let's chat about it.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Maybe potentially catch us all next there.
Yep. Alrighty.
All right. Peace.